Good morning from the farmer's garden. We're some of the farmers and we're out in the garden right now. So I've got my helpers with me. We are about to get started planting tomatoes. We're about like 2 hours later getting started than we wanted to be, but we had baby goats this morning and fun stuff like that slowed us down. But we are about to get started on planting tomatoes first. Brandon and Gracie are going to finish laying some of that plastic mulch that we didn't finish last night. And so that's where we sit for right now. So here's our tomato plants. We actually lost quite a few of them. There was that last freeze of the year, like the end of March, I think it was. And even in the greenhouse, our greenhouse is not heated, it's more of a high tunnel. And so we lost some to the cold. Some varieties did really good, some we lost. But this is what we had to get started with, and we'll get the others started, and they'll just be a second planting for the year when we get to them. But we've got like some Roma tomatoes for making salsa, some sweet slicers, some little cherries, different things. And so those are going into these middle rows. We try to lay everything out based on what will get sun at what time. So this is east. So the sun obviously comes up over here, moves over this way. During the summer, it's nearly directly overhead. So all of this gets full sun, except for early morning and late afternoon. So we are going to put things like okra and stuff like that that really appreciate the sun and the heat on that end, because then they'll be getting our afternoon sun. We're putting squashes and stuff up here with the great big leaves because they'll get that afternoon shade, and they tend to like that little bit of a break. It helps them to kind of rest a little longer, to not have that heat of the sun all day. But tomatoes are getting this middle portion here. All right, I'm gonna try to show you our process here. We don't have any special equipment. We have a bulb planter, and we are spacing them about 1 bulb planter apart. My shadow's in your way. We're going in as deep as we can. So that gives us a good 6-inch hole. Skeeter, can you hand me a tomato?
I can't get this one out.
Let Skeet do it then. Very gently, there you go. So tomatoes will actually grow roots all along their stems. You can see this one already has some. Anywhere that this stem hits the moisture, it will put out roots. So by planting these deeper, we allow it to have better roots already established before it gets hot. So we put that in, and then we are burying it. My shadow is right in the way. I'll try this again later when the sun is out of the way, but there you go. You can see that now it has access to water all up and down that stem, so it's already got deeper roots than what it started with. And that's how we plant all of these all through here. Alrighty, I think that took us about 3 hours. We have, what did we say, 508 tomatoes in the ground? Yes, ma'am. We started with 1,700 tomato seedlings. So that tells you what happened with that cool snap the end of March, and all of the things that have been hitting us so hard this year. Now, a few of them are still at the house, but not nearly 1,200 are left at the house. But 508 tomatoes are in the ground now. Seeds are sitting on the counter at home to start even more, to go in later in the year. It is not predicted to rain today, but we are getting some really nice clouds, and I am really praying that these get some rain. We will go through with a watering can and just give them a little bit to get them established. But most of them have transplanted pretty well, even considering that some of this ground is pretty dry. So that's exciting. Next we have watermelon transplants to go out, and then a ton of seeds to go in the ground. So nowhere near done, but about 2.5 to 3 hours worth of work. The rest of the plastic is laid, and all of the tomatoes are in the ground. What we are trying to do is let these terraces divide our garden into chunks. So that chunk right there is tomatoes. The chunk above it will be squashes and zucchini. This chunk is going to be big vining things. So these 2 rows are watermelon. Then we'll have some spaghetti squash. We're not going to fill both rows at a time with spaghettis because those make prolifically. So we'll come back and plant those in stages. And then we'll have these 2 rows will be pumpkins when it's time for them to go out, which is honestly sooner than you might think. Pumpkins take around 100 days to mature. So we have to start them earlier than most people would think. But those will go in here too. And so from that terrace to that one will be all of our big things that really spread out and vine and that sort of thing. So we're doing the same thing again, where we've got some plants in the plastic mulch and some without it to see what grows better. So we did have one tray of watermelon starts. All of those, or most of those, went into the plastic. And then we have some over here, and the rest of this row was finished out in watermelon seeds. So we'll see if they come up. Our spaghetti squash, unfortunately, were one of the starts that we lost. So they're just starting it with seeds over here and getting those going. Same principle as when we plant into the plastic with the actual plants. They punch the hole and then they're able to poke the seed in and go from there. Some of this is very hard to get videos of. We finished planting watermelon. We did plant okra and green beans, and now we are starting on zucchini. So I'm doing part of the zucchini here in this row. We're just doing a hole, dropping the seeds in, patting lightly, and then Brandon is also preparing for some to go in over here. So he's cutting holes, and then we'll come in and drop seeds and pat into those as well. Last row for the day. We are planting cucumbers, pickling cucumbers in this one. This one was salad cucumbers, and we have patty pan squash, 2 rows of yellow squash, and 2 rows of zucchini. Almost done. The clouds are still looking like they might do us some good. I hope they do. That'd be handy. Tomatoes that were put out first this morning are looking decent, and we are about ready to be done. It's getting warm and we're getting tired.
All right, well, that completes today. Bethany and the kids left earlier to go home and do chores and left me to finish things up. I've gone through and let's see if you can see it. I think the glare is too much. But anyway, I went back through here and I watered just the plants that we transplanted to try to give them a little extra boost till we can get some rain. And then I did not water any of the seeded stuff because I want them to be in dry soil bed, because if I go through and water them and then I forget to go back and water them, or it dries out quicker than I think it is, then those seeds will germinate and won't finish coming on up. So that is it for today. Thanks for stopping by. Tell your friends about us, like and share, and come back when you can stay longer.